Well. Good evening, everybody. Let me see if I can get my camera situated right here. Cut out some of the glare, maybe. There we go. Well, let's see. Let's do it a little bit. There we go. How's that? Okay. Well, how the heck is everybody? Let's do a little roll call here. We got Daryl in there, Ken, Toby, Dan, Katie, Steve, Jimbo, Matt. Katie's coming in with a last minute thank you. Okay, I'll add that to the list when we get to it. All right. Well, good to have everybody in there. How's the lighting? I can adjust that if it's too bright on my face, but I'm trying a few different things here. All right, there's Aaron Bartle up in Michigan. Ken's got another thank you in there. Okay, well, let me do this while everybody's joining still. I'm going to add some thank yous in here. So we got Katie, World War II vet. All right, that gets you bonus points and a gold star. Love it. And Ken's got a Miami-Dade sheriff today. Hopefully it was under good circumstances. I'm going to add that to yours. What are you talking about, Dano? Let's see. All right. Well, good. We got a good crowd filing in. I'm going to update the thank yous here real quick to include those two. Okay, good. We're up to date. Okay. Well, goodness gracious, good turnout already. I'll tell you what, when we miss, so there's my Aunt Paula. Hey, Aunt Paula, sure was good to see you down in Florida. Okay, Daryl's coming in. Okay, let me get these documented here. Daryl's got 4 St. Charles police officers. I'm going to add those to Daryl's count here real quick. And say 4 Leos. That's going to increase our count. I think we've got a record thank you count this week. More about that when we get to it. But oh my goodness, I don't know about you guys, but when we miss a week of speaking of Zane, it seems like forever. I tell you what, sure does. And we've got a couple of weeks worth of things to talk about. And let me tell you why we didn't do it last week. Of course, you remember the last session we had, Lori and I were down at my Warriors place in Florida. And then we had a very busy week. I worked from there all week, and then the week culminated in a work day at my Warriors place. More about that in a minute. But when we got to, we didn't get on the road to come home until Sunday. And I told you guys ahead of time that even though we made it back in record time, we made it back in plenty of time Sunday that we could have done, speaking of Zane. I think we got home about 6 or so, and so we had a couple hours. But, when you do something like this, it takes a little preparation. You got to get your thoughts together. You got to, get a few things together. You got to get your, sequencing lined up. And really, you kind of you really have to be in the right frame of mind. I mean, you have to, there's a little bit of, I don't even know how to explain it, but you got to be sort of in the groove, right? You got to be in the right mindset to have this conversation. And, and of course, just coming in off the road, Lori and I were driving for 8 hours, and, you're still coming down off of that tense driving, and it's just not that's not the most conducive to sitting down and having a conversation, especially when I hadn't prepared everything. So I knew that we wouldn't do it on Sunday. Well, Monday came around, and of course, back to work Monday, and one thing leads to another, and I just wasn't ready Monday night, and I don't want to just get on here and wing it, and I want it to be a beneficial conversation, and I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't prepared, and just didn't have myself together. And then I'm like, well, it's past Monday, it's past Tuesday, we'll just wait. And but that's okay. I would rather be in the right frame of mind, have my thoughts together. It takes a little bit of that to have an hour long conversation. And so anyway, here we are, 2 weeks later, but that's okay. Um, okay, let me see. Aunt Paula's got another thank you in there, so I'm going to add to hers. Hang on. See, if I don't capture these right now, I'm liable to forget. So she had a let's see, customs officer who was also a Marine. Okay, that should be double, shouldn't it? That's a bonus. It's a bonus. Thank you. I'll get that one down. We'll add another. I'm not going to tell you the count yet. I'm just going to keep adding them. Okay. One more there. Okay. Got it documented. Okay. There's Toby, my cousin, in there. My birthday was great. It's my last year in this particular decade. So next year I'll move into a new decade. But it was good. Good birthday. I worked all day. It was a normal work day Thursday. But it was a good birthday. Lori got me. I've been eyeballing this pair of Sperry topsiders. I've been wearing those for, I don't know what, Lori, over 30 years. I've always had a pair of those that's my around the house shoe. And of course, they only last for so many years. So Lori surprised me with a new pair and a nice dinner. Speaking of dinner, I just ate my dinner here. I got a little salmon in my tooth there. Yeah, Lori surprised me with, I'm on this ketovore diet here, and Lori surprised me with a bag full of meat. Basically, it was from a barbecue joint that was just outstanding. So I had some pulled pork and what was it, Lori? The beef, some brisket, and it was fantastic. And then she got me some sort of keto-friendly dessert cake. But yeah, it was a good birthday. My little guy Colton, or my little guy Everett was here and wished me a happy birthday. My little grandson Colton, Zane's oldest son, who'll be 10 this month, he called me up and wished me a happy birthday. He's got a brand new iPhone. He's 10 years old, and he was so happy that he could just call or text me anytime. But yeah, so I got a nice birthday from him as well. Let's see. There's Colin Crims in there. Hey, Colin from Albuquerque. All right, I got Aunt Paula's thank you in there. And let's see. Okay. Well, good. I think I have everybody accounted for. If you're in there and I didn't see you, or if I don't see you, put something in the comment and I will see you. But if I haven't acknowledged you, thank you so much for joining us every Sunday night. I look forward to this, and you guys are the reason. But yeah, so Lori and I got back last Sunday, and we made really good time up I-75 with our usual stop at Buc-ee's near Warner Robins, which was nice. And but the week at my Warriors place. So after we talked on that Sunday, for Speaking of Zane, would have been our 182nd edition of Speaking of Zane. We were telling you guys all about our scavenger hunt and all of that, and that was just the beginning of the week, really. And like I mentioned, throughout the week, hey, Aunt Cindy over in Alabama. So throughout the week, I was working during the day, and then in the evening, or late afternoon, evening, I would walk around the property looking for projects, looking for things that we could do down there. And because I had a team coming from work, you guys remember this, we've been leading up to this for quite a few months. And so the plan was to have probably 20 people from work, coworkers, family members, friends, partners, come out, and we were going to do a work day on Friday, March the 4th. So I was looking, Kelly had a few things for me, probably 3 distinct projects. And I'm like, that's not enough. I got 20 people coming. I got to make sure that they, we make the most of the human resources, and that everybody feels like they contributed and want to come back next time. And we really only had about a 5-6 hour window from noon till 5 or 6 to whenever people could stay. So I was looking around the property for things that we could do, and found quite a number of things. Thank goodness we were down there early, because I was able to identify some things that my team could be involved in. And we were much more prepared this time than we were last October, although we had a fantastic work day last October. But this year was even better. I had time to get T-shirts for everybody. We have particular T-shirts at our company when we do things like this, and got T-shirts, and Lori and my Aunt Paula distributed the T-shirts to everybody. And Aunt Paula, like I mentioned, Aunt Paula came down and spent some time with us, and took a nice group photo of us, which you guys probably saw on the Speaking of Zane Facebook group. And we got a lot of photos. I took a lot, and one of my guys on my team took a lot. And we even got some video clips, and a couple of the guys are editing some of the video to make a YouTube video. But anyway, so throughout the week, I was gathering up things like that, and just kind of relaxing. That kind of place, that place puts you in the mood to relax a little bit. And so the weather was absolutely beautiful the whole time we were there, and got to spend one evening with my buddy Robert, who lives just about a mile and a half away. And so it was a good, relaxing week. A few cigars along the way in the evening, and I go there and I just feel like relaxed, there on the water. And so anyway, worked all the way up through Thursday, and then Friday came along, and I got Thursday. We had planned on everybody to be there at noon, and I'd scheduled everything around the noontime hour. Well, I had a bunch of guys call me and say, "Man, can we come early, because we're going to have to leave early because of traffic and everything?" I said, "Yeah, come on out." So I had a group come out about 10. So I had to sort of reallocate my project plan and put them on some things before the rest of the crowd got there. And then eventually everybody trickled in. Everybody was there pretty much by noon or 12:30. So we got everybody gathered up. Turns out we had 30 people, if you count Lori, and Aunt Paula. I think the count was about 30. So we had 30 of us, which was a phenomenal turnout. And so we all gathered up, and Kelly couldn't be there. You guys have all met Kelly. She spoke to us here on Speaking of Zane before, and she's the founder of My Warriors Place. Anyway, she had a wedding in Tennessee that we saw her the first few days, and then she had to fly to Tennessee, I think. What was it, Lori? Thursday or Friday? Or Thursday, yeah. Because she wasn't there Friday. But so I gathered. Normally, when the groups come out like that, Kelly likes to tell the story about Corey and how My Warriors Place came about. And she wasn't there. So I told the story. I've heard it a few times, told it a few times. And so we had everybody gathered up, and gave them the story about Corey and everything, and walked them around, gave them a little walking tour of the main area there, and then gathered everybody up as well as you can gather 30 people, and went through the list of projects that needed to be done. And I had already assigned some group captains, because if you don't assign a leader to something, you tend to flounder a little bit, either until somebody naturally emerges, or you never get it done. And with these kind of projects, and we're largely a group of engineers. So if you get 10 engineers together, you get 10 different ways to do something. So I assigned a group leader to each project, and I tried to do that based on skill set, and that worked out great. And everybody was so motivated and excited. A number of wives were there, and everybody. We had 12 12 distinct projects, 30 people. So we were in groups of 4 or 5. And I'm gonna tell you, to keep all that running smoothly and get people, where they need to go and get people the tools they need and all the supplies they need and to steer people in the right direction and to, make sure everybody has water and everything. That was my job, and I tell you, it's not an easy job. But fortunately, I had a golf cart and a cooler full of beverages, and everybody got everybody everything they needed and showed everybody around, got them all started on their projects, and man, everybody was just having such a great time. And we completed 12, 13 unique projects that needed to be done. There was just 3 that Kelly asked us to do, and we managed to find a whole bunch more projects to do. And man, it worked out so well. And one of the things you notice immediately when you come into the retreat is the sign out front. I don't know, what is it, Lori? About maybe a 8x5 sign, I guess, maybe. Largely white with the My Warriors Place logo and lettering and all this stuff. Well, over time, this is Florida weather, right? Always wet and humid. I don't know that the sign's ever been cleaned. So I put my guy Keith, who is a retired Army warrant officer, motorcycle guy, works at our company, and I said, "Hey man, you want to tackle that sign?" He says, "I got it, boss." And man, he killed it. Got it cleaned. I got some mildew cleaner and all that stuff, and he got that sign clean. I had some enamel paint for him, and he got all the rust treated and painted, and the sign looks fabulous. That's the first thing you see when you come into My Warriors Place, so it makes a good first impression. And you can see the list of projects that we did on my post on Facebook. If you're interested in seeing exactly what we did. But it was just a wonderful time. Everybody was such great camaraderie. And then, of course, as time went on, 4 or 5 o'clock, people had to begin to leave. And I made sure to everybody had a T-shirt, first of all. And then this time around, in the military, we have the whole challenge coin thing, right? You guys know, most of you have one of the Zane's, speaking of Zane challenge coin. Well, we had some made at work that you guys have seen it on the Facebook page, but we had some made at work, and we had about 1,000 or 2,000 made. And the whole thinking is, anytime anybody does anything, like this, that's veteran related, military related, they'll get a challenge coin. So certainly everybody there on that day qualified. So everybody got a challenge coin. I've got one up here in the office for Lori, but everybody got a challenge coin. They were among the first people to receive the coveted WWT Veterans Challenge coin. Nobody else in the company has received them yet. So that was nice to be able to do that. And just a great, I know I'm missing a lot of great stuff that happened that day. Lori and Aunt Paula were able to run out and grab some lunch together, which was just a bonus. And I mentioned Aunt Paula took the nice picture of us all in front of the flag, it turned out great. And let's see. Yeah, I mean, people are already ready for the next one. So in Florida, it's tough to do those kind of things in the summertime. So we're probably looking at getting back out there in the fall and see what else Kelly has for us. But I tell you, I told you about the people we met on Saturday. Lori and I met some new people, Molly and her husband, and Bill, the ranger, and just a number of other people we had met for the first time. And well, we met some more people this time. Well, there's a guy that just started at My Warriors Place the Tuesday of that week. His name is Steve, and Steve is the maintenance supervisor now, and he lives right there on the property. And his job is to keep all the property up. So I think he was kind of the beneficiary of me being there with a large group, because it kind of forced him to know what's in all the sheds, where the paint shed is, where the tool shed is, where all the keys are, what, where this and that are, because, he was having to let us into certain things. So hopefully that helped kickstart his first week on the job there. But just a great guy. Got to talking with him. He's got a wonderful service dog called Malachi. He's a Siberian Husky. And Steve just picked up and moved from upstate New York to come down here and take this job. If you ever wonder about the impact of doing things like this, if you ever wonder about the byproduct that you may know about or may not know about of honoring veterans and being involved in veteran-related activities and stuff, look no further than Steve. And I'll try to tell a story without tearing up. But I got to spend a bit of time with Steve as he was getting acclimated to My Warriors Place. I know more about My Warriors Place than he does. So, but being able to spend a little time with him in the evenings as we walked around the property and hear a little bit about his story. Steve was a Marine, proud Marine, and like a lot of veterans, had trouble finding his way, and is 100% disabled, and has the service dog Malachi. Hasn't worked in like 4 years. Steve shared with me. I don't think Steve would mind me sharing this with you. It's his story. And through a person, through a friend, he found out about My Warriors Place, and came down, interviewed with Kelly, and they got to meet him and everything. And Kelly offered him the job there, and he stays right on the property. And he's got such a positive attitude about his future, and just a sharp guy, real smart guy. His family heritage is from Ukraine. And so we talked a bit about that, and he's really tore up about the whole situation there, as you might imagine. And but anyway, we had some really good conversation there. And then Friday, after most everybody had left, we were in the courtyard there and just hanging out and relaxing after a long day. And there might have been a cold beverage or two and a cigar, but we were just chatting, a few of us. And yeah, it was just, learning about his story and what it looks like My Warriors Place could mean to him. And so I, at the end of the day, at the end of the, time we were together there, I told him how much I appreciated him and hoped the best for him. And I gave him one of the challenge coins, just like I gave the rest of the group. And, he was a little bit stunned and didn't know what to say about it. And then, that was Friday. Let's see, Saturday, Sunday. I think, it must have been sometime Saturday. I'm going to share this with you here. I saw this post that he made on Facebook. And that's what I'm saying. If you ever have any question about the impact that you could have on somebody, whether you know it or you don't, let me see, I don't know if I can make that any bigger, but I'll read it to you here. And this was Steve, what Steve posted. He said, yesterday we had a large group of volunteers at work. It was a long day and the crew did amazing work at My Warriors Place. At the end of the day, I was able to relax and shoot the breeze with another veteran and a good friend of his before parting ways. He stopped me and said, hold on, I have something for you. He then gives me this, and there's a picture of the coin there. He gives me this and shakes my hand. And he goes on to say, it's been a very long time since I felt part of something, missing that camaraderie with my boys. Thank you, Warrior, for the entire crew for all you did. How about that for validation of being a genuine human, checking on your buddies, thanking a veteran? I don't claim any credit for any of that. All I'm saying is that makes everything that we do worth it to me. And I just hope that, and I hope that he, continues to have a really good time there at My Warriors Place, and looking forward to getting back there sometime and seeing how he's doing and checking in on him. But just a great story there from Steve. And Steve, I don't know if you're watching. If you're watching or not, if you are, and I'm telling too much, slap me when you see me. But I think your story is one that people can learn from, and I'm glad to know you, and look forward to seeing you again when we get down there next time. There's my Aunt Mary. Hey, Aunt Mary. All right. So that was Friday. So Saturday, let's see, what did we do Saturday? We got up. Lori had planned a day for us, and she had found out about this cemetery that's not too far away that has some. Our friend Molly told us has some Civil War veterans in it. We're like, wow, okay. If it's not too far, let's go check it out. So it's in a little place called Dover, Florida. I don't know, Lori. It was maybe 45 minutes or an hour away from Ruskin. And so we drove up there, and the weather again was beautiful. But we found Bethlehem Cemetery. Excuse me. And not only did Bethlehem Cemetery in Dover, Florida, it dates back to 1850. 1850. Wow, that's pre-Civil War. So there were a number of Civil War CSA, Confederate States veterans there. I don't know how many, maybe 20 or so. It's a relatively small cemetery, but there were quite a number of Civil War veterans there. There were several World War I veterans. You don't see that often. There were several World War I, and then the other one that surprised us, and I don't know that we've ever seen a veteran's headstone with this on it, but these veterans, and there was at least two of them, maybe three, that were veterans of the Indian Wars. The Indian Wars. I need to do a little more research on that. But anyway, just an incredible visit that we had there. And then I talked Lori into, before that we had breakfast. We had brunch. Before that at the Ruskin Diner. If you ever get down to Ruskin, there's a good old-fashioned Ruskin Diner. They also have a drive-in, like they have down in Jessup, Georgia. There's a drive-in there, not too far from the Ruskin Diner. But anyway, so we went there, and I had lots of bacon and lots of eggs, and in compliance with my ketovore diet, I'm at 25 pounds now. 25 pounds. I need about another 5 to get to my goal and springboard from there. But so we had brunch there, and then went to Bethlehem Cemetery. And then I talked Lori on the way back to stopping at JR Cigar Outlet. There's a JR Cigar Outlet there in Tampa, and stopped there. And they had a really cool, you may have seen me post this on the Facebook page, but they had a really cool Wall of Honor, they called it, with a bunch of military stuff on it. And that was kind of cool. I'm always kind of hypersensitive to those things, and they did not disappoint there. All right. Well, speaking of birthdays, my brother Terry had a birthday just a few days before me. My brother Terry was born on March 6th. I think it was 1968. And so he's about, what is Terry? He's about 4 years younger than me, I guess. Terry was a Marine, and then later an Army officer, served in the first Gulf War, and then again in Afghanistan. Early in his career, a Marine in Desert Storm, and then an Army officer in Afghanistan. That was a pretty good run there. And then I had my 10-year anniversary at work this week. 10 years. It's a long time to be at one place, especially when in technology. 10 years is a long time to be in one place, but 10 years I've been here. I remember when we moved here from Savannah, I took this job. We didn't move right away, but our little grandson Colton was born before we even moved up here. Um, what's his birthday, Lori? He's in March. He's in March, but it's toward the end of March. I don't remember the exact date. I should, because I'm his granddaddy, but don't tell him I don't remember it. But I know that it's 10 years for Colton Pierce. He'll be 10 years old. All right, let's see. I think that about recaps the week. It was an awesome week. It got both Lori and I thinking, man, why don't we live in Florida? Why don't we live in Florida? Oh man, that's a tough question too, man. It sure is. Maybe one day we will. But let's see. So, what's the hat of the week? What's the hat of the week? Well, I couldn't think of one that matched. I just decided to throw on the old Wounded Warrior Project hat. Wounded Warrior Project. Always. This was Zane's actually, and I always like to wear it every now and then. All right, let's see what Matt says here. The other day, we lost one of our 2-1 infantrymen. We deployed to Afghanistan together, although he was in another platoon. His name was Cam Kennels. One of those loud voice people with an even bigger laugh. Real good dude. I'm not sure what happened. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry to hear that, Matt. That's a shame. That reminds me of a story at work. We have a guy who is in the program that I lead at the company. You've heard me talk about it, where we teach people how to be pre-sales engineers at our company. Well, this guy, I won't say his name, but he just retired from the Army. He was a warrant officer in the Army, very technically skilled in things that we do, Cisco products and routing and switching and all that nerdy stuff. But he's never been part of a sales team and all that stuff. So they gave him to me and said, can you teach him all this? I'm like, yep. And anyway, last week, he had his official Army retirement ceremony after 20 years in the Army. Big deal. And he said it was absolutely phenomenal, more than he ever expected. But he also shared with me that on that day, he lost his brother, and said that it was totally unexpected, and that his brother had been going through a rough patch, and didn't probe much on that, but it was an all too common story. But okay, well, geez, let's see. I could talk all day and all night about my Warriors Place and all the good work going on there, and I'm already thinking about what we're going to do next time we're down there. And Lori and I, we spend the whole week there, so we're thinking, man, wouldn't it be nice to do this? Or man, maybe this, wouldn't it be better if this process was in place? Or shouldn't they put all this here? And when you get, when you're there in the middle of it, you see things. And anyway, so it was a really good week. Speaking of weeks, how about this week in military history? There are a few items of note this week to call out. Let's see. Let me do them chronologically and go all the way back to 1915. 1915. I think that's before any of us were around, including Steve Shirley, maybe. But in 1915, on March the 3rd, was the formation of the United States Navy Reserve. So happy birthday, Navy Reserve. Have a guy at work, 2 of them that are that are in the Navy Reserves. And let's see. So if we go from 1915 to March 5th, 1942, we have the birth of the United States Navy Seabees. Does anybody know what Seabees stands for? This will be a little trivia portion of Speaking of Zane. First on the keyboard, I'm betting on Shirley or Pesic here to come up with the answer about what does Seabees really stand for. And we'll play the Jeopardy music while you guys ponder that. But yeah, that was in in World War II when the CBs came about. Jeopardy music continues until somebody steps forward. And if nobody does, I will give you the answer. But CBs, you often see them with, okay, Daryl's in there for the win. Yeah, CBs. So CBs, it's the Navy Construction Battalion, right? CB, the Navy Construction Battalion, and the guys got creative very early on. There you go, Colonel Krim. Very early on, and they turned that into SEA, at the Navy, right? And B's, BEE, and then they have this really cool logo of a bee, and so CB's is where the construction battalion is where that came from, and anywhere that you would see a Marine Corps airstrip going up or a base or whatever, you would have the CB's there doing all the construction. But very good stuff. So happy birthday if you were a CB. All right, so let's see. Let's go just a few days later in 1942, and I saw this all over Facebook today, and I had no idea that it even existed. You heard there was a couple of names for it. There's a couple of ways that people referred to it, but evidently, March the 13th, 1942, was when the military working dogs really came into existence. I'm sure there were always dogs with the military, but I guess this was the official formation of the military working dog. So I've seen this referred to as Military Working Dog Day, and I also saw it referred to as National Canine Veterans Day. So at any rate, let's hear it for those military working dogs. March 13th, 1942. How about that? Good stuff. All right, let's see. Now here's another little piece of trivia, or maybe it's not trivia, but this is one of those where were you questions everybody can play. This was February the 28th of 1983. Okay, think where you were. If February 28th, 1983 doesn't put you in a particular place, then the question is, where were you during the final episode of MASH? MASH. How about that? I know where I was. MASH. I got to say, I became a fan of MASH later in my life. I wasn't probably, early when it first aired. But I certainly and still love to watch episodes, and it's some of the driest humor. It's just some of the, in the face of, danger, I don't even know how to categorize it, but it's an incredible story. MASH, but I was at Offutt too, Daryl. I was hadn't been there all that long. I think I got there in September, October of '82. So I was there during the final episode of MASH, living in the barracks. Final episode of MASH. All right, makes me want to go watch it again. But all right, let's see. Steve knows very specifically. He was on the 3 glass during the final episode of MASH. How about that? All right. Katie's adding another thank you here before we get to the thank yous. Let's see. She said last weekend thanked her little sister's neighbor. He was 2nd Infantry at Fort Lewis. Okay, let me add that one real quick while we're thinking about it. I'll put that under the Katie section here. Let's see. So he was a soldier. Okay. All right. That takes our count up 1 notch here and 1 notch here. Okay, everybody still with me? Okay, good. Well, that was this week in military history. All right. Well, now we come to the Veteran Cemetery Challenge. We had some visits this week. I mentioned Lori and I made the visit to Bethlehem Cemetery. I haven't put it on the map yet, our Google map that I keep up to date. But that was a new one for us. Bethlehem Cemetery. And Lori said, and she's right. She says, "Can you imagine how many of these little cemeteries are there all over the country with veterans in them, and nobody knows about them?" And because they're not a national cemetery, they're not declared a veteran cemetery. But I don't know, Lori. They were probably, gosh, I'd say there was 100 veterans in there, maybe. Somewhere 50 to 100 veterans in that little cemetery. But anyway, so that was one. Daryl, we got Daryl for 2 visits since we last met to Jefferson Barracks. Jim Miller had a couple of visits. Jim visited his wife, Deborah, and we had plotted that cemetery on the map. And there's veterans all around her, Jim tells us, which is really kind of cool. And then on his way home, he stopped by at Omaha National. So Jim's got 2 visits there. I went to Georgia National today. The weather was just absolutely beautiful. I was kind of caught up on everything. And Lori said, "Are you going to run out? If you're going to run out somewhere, let me know, because we needed some bread and stuff." I said, "Okay." Well, it gave me reason enough. And so I went out to see Zane. Spent a little time out there. The weather was beautiful. Quite a few people out there today. Even though the weather was beautiful, it was at 40s. It maybe got up to high 50s today. After we had a dusting of snow Friday night, I think it was. Crazy. We're going to be back up in the 70s this week. Let's see. So Daryl, Jim, Lori, Guy. So if I total all the visits up, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 visits since we last met, and one of those new. So that means we're at 580 visits. We're getting close to 600 visits. Wow. And that's to 152 different locations. 152. How about that? I'll get that map. I like to post that map every now and then. People forget about it, but I'll get it updated with the last couple of new ones, and then put it back out there on the Facebook page so people can take a look at it. And it's kind of cool when you think about what we've done there. Also, a neat story. I just saw this, I think yesterday. There were 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, 6 internments at Fort Smith National Cemetery in Fort Smith, Arkansas. These were all unattended, unaccompanied, and there's a story about it you can go read. But there were 3 World War II veterans, a Korean War veteran, a Vietnam veteran, and the wife of a World War II veteran were finally laid to rest at Fort Smith National Cemetery. So how about that? Okay, let's see. So on to the Thank a Vet Challenge. Wow. So this week was a little bit difficult to calculate, and it probably isn't 100% accurate, but if I think about, let me just tell you who I've got here. So Steve had a Vietnam vet, and 7 Omaha police officers. And I think it was at a hockey game or on the way to the hockey game. I don't remember, but the circumstances. But Steve had a Vietnam vet and 7 OPD officers. And he said he could have had an 8th, but he was busy with an unruly citizen, I think. And then Daryl had an Army vet early this week. And at that location, he said 2 kids about 10 years old thanked him. How about that? Somebody's teaching their kids to thank veterans, and Daryl was the recipient of that this week. Daryl also thanked a Navy Vietnam vet, and then the last-minute entry with the 4 law enforcement officers there. And then my dad came in with a couple of this week. He thanked an Air Force Vietnam vet. I think he was out probably at the Lowe's or something. And then interesting, took my mom to the hospital, took my mom to the doc for something, and the doctor, as the doctor was leaving, he told my dad, "Thank you, thank you for your service." He says, "I know you're a Marine. I'm sorry, I was Army." And so the doctor was an Army vet. So Dad got a couple in there. And then Aunt Paula with 2 Leos earlier this week, a Purple Heart veteran, and then her late entry, the customs officer who happened to be a Marine. And Jimbo, when Jim went out to the base, he thanked the gate guard there. Ken, tell me if I got this right. Ken had a Marine Corps vet, Vietnam vet earlier in the week. He had an Army Desert Storm vet, I think in the same venue. And then his late entry, the Miami-Dade sheriff. And then my friend Diana Fender, who watches the program here, she asked me if she could participate in the Thank a Vet Challenge. I'm like, doggone it, yes, you can. And Diane was in the Air Force with us there at Offutt Air Force Base, and she thanked 2 Navy vets. They were husband and wife, Navy vets. So we got her on the board. And then Molly, who I mentioned that Lori and I met down at my Warriors Place, Molly thanked Air Force Gate Guard down there at, I guess it's MacDill, that's in Tampa. She must work on the base. She's retired, retired Army. Her husband's retired Army. And then Katie, I got you with a World War II vet, and then that Army second ID guy. And then I'm going to give Lori and I mentioned the group we had there. And of the 30, 19 were veterans. So I'm going to give us 19 because when we gathered up and everything, I asked everybody and we thanked everybody. And so I'm going to say 19 plus Steve makes 20. Steve, the Marine that I mentioned, which actually if I adjust for that, we'll take our numbers up 1 because I didn't add that. So that makes 49 thank yous for the week. 49 thank yous. I think that may be our highest week. I don't know. Aunt Paula may have had a week of 49 once, but I think 49 might be our high week. But unusual circumstances with so many veterans gathered in one place. So not a surprise there. So that takes our total Thank a Vet Challenge. Remember when we were trying to get to 1,200? Well, we are at 1,333, 1,333 thank yous since we started thanking veterans here on Speaking of Zane. So how about that? Pretty good tally this week, man. You guys are out there thanking veterans. That's awesome. I love it. I love it. Okay, let's see. Well, next on the agenda is normally the organizations, and what can I say? My Warriors Place led the pack this week. We've got our Running to Honor 5K coming up in July. And remember, speaking of all of this service and the impact that you might have on somebody simply by showing interest or thanking somebody or being involved in outreach or whatever it is, it's fitting that the Reach Across America theme this year is Find a Way to Serve. How about that? That's a challenge for all of us. Find a way to serve. I love it. Good stuff. Okay, well, I only saw one. Now, I don't always get this right, and I'm not 100% accurate. I'll be the first to say it. But in my observations this week, I only really found one situation where there was an incident, either whether we lost a service member or nearly lost a service member, and there was an F-18 that crashed this week. Believe it or not, I don't know if you heard it. With everything going on in Ukraine, you may not hear about some of these items, but there was an F-18 Hornet that crashed. The Hornet crashed in Beaufort, South Carolina. Is it Beaufort? It's Beaufort. North Carolina's Beaufort. In Beaufort, South Carolina, where there's the 2nd Marine aircraft wing is located. But fortunately, both pilots were able to eject safely, and nobody was hurt on the ground. So that's always good news. I remember when Lori and I were living in Savannah, the Blue Angels were doing an air show there. What, Lori, this may have been about 10 years ago. We may have been living here already, but about 10 years ago, a Blue Angel F-18 crashed there. Sad, killed the pilot. Okay, Steve, see you later, buddy. Enjoy all your, I always enjoy all your hockey posts. Good stuff. Okay, we're just about done anyway. I tell you, that's we're coming right up on an hour, but we had a lot to catch up on, having skipped a week. But I was reminded this week, some people were posting different quotes and different things from history and all that. And every Monday, I start the week out with my team and with some inspirational quote. And I've managed to sneak in a couple of Ronald Reagan quotes, and we can't help everybody, but everybody can help somebody quote, and just kind of sets the tone for the week and gets them motivated on Mondays. And so I pulled that out of the archives there and shared it with my team. But I love those things. We don't know them all, but we owe them all is another one. Be an American worth dying for. Nothing is lost unless forgotten, and kind of the reason why we speak Zane's name. And I forget who said this. This would be extra credit. I'll have to go back and look, but here's a quote, and it's a question. It says, "Is it death to fall for freedom's cause?" That's a good one. And Gary Sinise, one of my favorite Gary Sinise quotes, he says, "Service is a great healer. If you have a broken heart, help somebody else. Your life will be different." That's incredible. All right, folks. Well, I sure have enjoyed it. We're caught up, I think. But you know what? After I finish every Sunday night, I always think, "Oh man, I forgot that. I forgot this." And I did forget something. So I have a buddy. Speaking of my birthday, a friend of mine at work sent me, and I posted this on Facebook. You'll have to go look, but he sent me this collection of aircraft schematics of particular aircraft in history, and they're 8x10s and suitable for framing. And anyway, you'll have to go look now at my Facebook page to see those. But wow, what a great guy, Jeff! My friend Jeff sent those to me. Somewhat of a surprise, but anyway, thank you all for joining. I tell you, I've said over and over again that this is therapy for me, to be able to talk about Zane and these related items, and to have you guys here alongside Lori and I as we seek to thank veterans, as we seek to visit as many veteran cemeteries as we can. Is just, I can't even explain what it means to us. So looking forward to next week already, and feel free along the way to share your thank yous, share your cemetery visits, and we'll look forward to seeing everybody right here again next Sunday night. Remember, the clocks have changed at 8:30 Eastern, and we'll look forward to it. Have a great week. Make it count, folks. We'll see you. Everything.
you.